Hi guys, it's Honeymaker and welcome back to the fascinating story of the solo leveling universe. We're finally diving into the whirlpool of events. The second episode ended on a tense note, so let's jump right into the third episode. We start off right where we left off. After an unequal battle in a double dungeon without any support, our jinwoo literally becomes a sacrifice for a mysterious god. However, usually when a sacrifice is made to a god, people expect to receive something from him in return. Jinwoo, being on the verge of life and death, receives a fateful message that divides his life into before and after. An unknown sender offers to accept a special quest, and Jinwoo grabs this opportunity as a lifeline. He becomes a player. Waking up in a hospital, at first glance it seems that it was a dream, that there was no scary dungeons, deaths of hunters and a terrible boss. Moreover, Jinwoo's arms and leg are back in place. How is it possible? Are you sure this isn't a dream? Apparently not, since Jinwoo's memories are still vivid. Full restoration of health is an excellent effect from accepting the quest. Meanwhile, two workers come to visit our hero. This incident created a stir, and it was surprising that the errant hunter was able to escape. This raised suspicion, so it wasn't surprising that the suspicious department of the Hunters Association showed interest in Jinwoo. Waking up 3 days later, Jinwoo finds out that not many managed to escape from the dungeon. The squad leader, Song Cheol, lost his arm and will most likely have to resign. And this was too traumatic for Joo-hee, so she is undergoing treatment. She didn't already stand out for her courage and fortitude, and now, after such a horror, she won't even want to go into the dungeons. After some managed to escape from the double dungeon, the association was reported. A squad of the strongest hunters, led by red-haired Yunho, came to the rescue. However, their abilities weren't needed since there was no longer any danger, and all that remained for them was to pick up Jinwoo and take him to the hospital. It seems that at this stage, everyone thinks that he is just a lucky guy who miraculously managed to escape from the dungeon. The inspectors decided to test Jinwoo again on the manometer to check the possibility of the reawakening. As we already know, a hunter awakens power only once, and his indicators remain unchanged until the end of his life. However, in their history, as it turns out, there were cases when a hunter awakened his powers again, and his run could be radically different from the previous one. At this moment, Jinwoo probably thought that it would be nice if he reawakened and was at least D rank, but the device measuring mana unfortunately showed an absolutely minuscule number, 10. This is even less than what Jinwoo originally had. Having found out nothing, inspectors leave, but isn't really nothing, the indicator has changed, albeit to a lesser extent, although according to the rules of this world, it shouldn't have changed at all. And also this is a message that only Jinwoo can see. His sister Jina, who came to visit him in the hospital, also doesn't notice anything. Thought she unknowingly helped Jinwoo find a way to see the unread notifications on his quest. It turns out that you can switch to the menu using voice control by simply saying "Open mailbox." After making sure Jinwoo is okay, Jina leaves, and again our mysterious classmate. Left alone, Jinwoo finally examines the quest menu. Something called the system will help the player during the quest process. It seems to work like a standard RPG game. Complete quest and get rewards. Jinwoo receives his first daily task, strength training, where he has to do squats, sit-ups, push-ups and running. Failure to comply with the conditions of the system will result in a penalty. But Jinwoo successfully ignores this. Meanwhile, the inspectors reported on Jinwoo's situation, classifying it as a special case. In this world, everything connected with hunters is controlled and carefully checked. Guilds compete for status and prestige. That is why the guildmaster of the Hunters Guild, Jonin, appoints Chahin as an instructor for newcomers. Surely he was planning something more than just increasing the combat experience of the hunters. He prepares the guild for a dangerous task. Speaking of tasks, Jinwoo still hadn't completed his daily task before midnight. Well, let's see what the penalty will be. The system takes him to another dimensions, or perhaps it's a training camp. In any case, Jinwoo finds himself in the desert where he needs to survive while running away from a giant centipede. Well, here we see that the system really controls a lot of in this world. It can manipulate reality, transfer objects from one dimension to another, and influence physical states and magical abilities. This suggests that the system is a part of a super mechanism that controls everything around. but about which people know nothing. In the case of Jinwoo, if you don't try, you won't know. He runs away from this centipede with all his might. 4 hours last like an eternity, but Jinwoo has a motivation not to be killed. Great workout too, you will definitely run more than 10 kilometers. Thanks God he copes with this and appears back in his hospital room, where the nurses have already searched him. After such a crazy night, it no longer seems like a joke to him. Now he will responsibly carry out daily tasks. Meanwhile, Joo-hee, as expected, refuses to go to raids. But the news that Jinwoo has come to his senses make her very happy. She goes to the hospital to check on him. I wonder if she ever came to see him while he was passed out. He saved her life and she decided to get off with flowers. Apparently several days have passed since Jinwoo returned from the desert, and since then he has been diligently following all the instructions of the system. After accepting the quest in the double dungeon, Jinwoo in fact was simply resorted to factory settings, minimum physical and magical indicators. If you want to be stronger, raise your levels. And Jinwoo, instead of freaking out, he's all like, cool, I guess I will just level up and become a badass. By completing daily quests, he receives rewards in the form of full recovery, ability points and loot boxes. First of all, Jinwoo decided to pump up his strengths, but he can also increase his agility, intuition, vitality and perception. He also has access to active and passive skills. As the third reward for today's quest, the main character received a key. This was the first time he had come across something so valuable. In the meantime, new gates are opening almost every day. The human world has adapted to this. Informing people about the gate is necessary primarily for safety, since monsters can break out the gate at any moment. But the gate is dangerous not only because of the monsters. As in the case of Jinwoo's mother, with the advent of the gate a new disease appears, called eternal slumber. It is caused by prolonged exposure to mana on a person. I wonder how 4 years ago Jinwoo mom came into contact with mana. If it weren't for his mother's illness, Jinwoo wouldn't hardly have become a hunter. Then the burden of supporting himself, his younger sister and paying for his mother's treatment fell on Jinwoo. But on the other hand, without this, Jinwoo wouldn't have become so strong that he can crush an apple with one hand. No, really, this is probably the first cool moment with him, like he's ready to move mountains. Sometime later, he finally dared to use the key he received. Talking about the properties of this interesting item, this A-rank key is capable of instantly creating a dungeon. In order to enter the dungeon, Jinwoo needs to use the key at the entrance to the metro station. Consoling himself that in case of a stalemate he will escape from the dungeon, Jinwoo enters the open dimensions. He also thinks that perhaps this is a part of the reawakening procedure, so he is even more determined. However, as soon as he enters the dungeon, the exit is sealed. The main character has only two options: either kill the boss or use the teleporting stone. Apparently, the system created this dungeon specifically for leveling up the main character, since this is not a standard dungeon. This dimension, unlike the others, acts as an augmented reality that only Jinwoo can see. Well, now is the time to test the skills that Jinwoo gained during his training. But Jinwoo is still inexperienced, so his resolve wanes a little. I would also doubt it if I had to clear an entire dungeon alone. It is infested with goblins monsters, similar to those that Jinwoo already fought in the first episode. Although it is still awkward, he manages to fight them off. His body and muscles actually become stronger after leveling up his strength. Finally, feeling his new powers, Jinwoo gets the hang of it and enthusiastically slashes monsters. Oh my god, moments like this make me love watching anime of this genre. Killing several goblins gives him self-confidence and also adds experience points. However, before Jinwoo had time to rest, an opponent of a new level appeared in front of him, much more dangerous than the previous monsters. The sign above Lee Khan's head is illuminated in red, which means his level is higher than Jinwoo's. This signification of monsters is very convenient for the player, so that he can first assess his strength and think through battle tactics. But having lost his weapon, Jinwoo is overcome by fear, and here he again needs to make a choice: succumb to fear and die in the very first dungeon, or pull himself together and figure out what exactly he can do to defeat such a strong opponent. So, the third episode of Solo Leveling was extremely interesting. It was filled with nods to classic RPGs, epic battles and mysteries. The main character is finally starting to level up and become stronger. This is exactly what we all like. Character development doesn't happen overnight, but through hard work. And of course, it's incredibly exciting to watch Jinwoo defeat an opponent many times stronger than him. And how exactly he will do this, we will see in the next episode. Thank you for watching, I will be glad to see your likes, subscribe to the channel, grab your swords, and let's continue to follow Jinwoo's story together.